शुभं करोति कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदा शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योति नमोस्तुते।
I would like to introduce our Master of Ceremony today, Mrs. Sonali Singh. She is a postgraduate in interdisciplinary studies with over 24 years of teaching experience to school, college, and also for B.Ed students. Rich experience in the field of research, her greatest strength, which helped her to achieve a successful head position, are her logical and critical thinking. Right now, she is the head of the primary section of Little Angels High School, Mumbai. Well versed with modern pedagogy and educational practices, she has penned down more than 11 papers in the field of education. And she is currently pursuing a doctorate in education, PhD in education. So welcome Sonali Singh ma'am, welcome Arpita Ghosh ma'am, and all the audience over here to today's Tuesday webinar. Sonali Singh ma'am, please continue.
Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of the International Center of Resource Development for Educators, CRDE, I, Sonali Singh, welcome you all to the 14th session of the Tuesday webinar series. Before we begin with our session, a brief about CRDE. Center of Resource Development for Educators. CRDE is the initiative of educators Dr. Suresh Nair sir and Mrs. Deepa Desai madam. It is a platform where teachers and educators are maneuvered to excel and mentor the student community through local and international mentorship. CRDE offers the opportunity to experiment and implement ideas, innovations, and collaboration to achieve performance and continuous professional excellence. CRDE is where confluence of like-minded individuals share and imbibe knowledge, experience through interaction, deliberation, and international exposure. A brief introduction of Dr. Suresh Nair sir, who is the president of CRDE. Dr. Suresh Nair sir, a state teacher awardee, joined Vivek Vidyalaya and Junior College in 2006 after serving for 𝐀𝐫𝐭𝐬 College for about 18 years as a professor of physics. Dr. Suresh Nair sir is an able administrator and a perfect educationist whose visionary endeavor in the field of education paved the way to fetch him an array of accolades. He has guided thousands of students in the subject and is instrumental in the popularization of science among school and college-going students by conducting various Olympiads. He is a co-author in physics textbook for junior colleges and MHTCET for engineering entrance examination. A dynamic professional with 32 plus years of experience in educational services and enriching support systems for effective school-college operations. He has abilities to harmoniously manage tasks of profound best practices to effectively run the school. Brief introduction of Deepa Desai madam, who is the secretary of CRDE. Knowledgeable, insightful, hardworking, determined are just some of the words that describe Mrs. Deepa Desai madam. She has been in the field of education for the last 37 years and is a recipient of many awards for her work. Former principal of 𝐓𝐞𝐬𝐢𝐳𝐠, the founder principal of MPS Kalpadevi, a CBSE school in South Mumbai, and former head of IES Manik Vidya Mandir. She is a woman of many talents, an inspirational educationist, passionate teacher, motivating leader, and compassionate person. She is of the belief that every child can learn and has the potential, but must be taught in the way they understand. Her rich experience as an educationist also made her an innovative and knowledgeable trainer for the CBSE and SVKM's group of schools in Shirpur, Dhule. Thank you, Deepa ma'am and Dr. Nair sir, for being a part of visioning the CRDE. Today's session is about using expressive arts as a teaching tool. The inspiration and power of the arts play a vital role in enabling our children and young people to enhance their creative talent and artistic skills. By engaging in experiences within the expressive arts, children and young people recognize and represent feelings and emotions, both their own and those of others. Hence, expressive arts play a central role in shaping our sense of our personal, social, and cultural identity. Let's hear more about expressive art and how it can be used as an effective teaching tool from our esteemed speaker for today, Miss Arpita Ghosh, Madam. She is a certified life coach and soft skill trainer. Her mission in line is empowering individuals, touching lives. She has trained not middle and senior management, but also conducted sessions for school principals and teachers. The use of expressive arts makes her training module more unique and experiential. A media professional, prior to her life's calling as a counselor, Ms. Ghosh is an approved voice of AIR and DD Mumbai, a corporate filmmaker, screenplay writer for teleserial. Miss Arpita Ghosh has also acted in the film Mumbai Central. Her never say no attitude to do and learn gives her the title of being a poet, a TEDx speaker, a solo traveler, a journalist, and a spiritual seeker, which made her realize that what matters most is what remains after we drop all the labels. Counseling individuals to reclaim their power and work on self-development. Madam Arpita Ghosh is currently associated with Christ, deemed to be University, Lavasa, Pune. She has also won the Excellence Award 2021 in the field of mental health well-being, an award for the most promising counselor 2021 from Asian African Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Ms. Ghosh was also awarded for Best Practice in Experimental Learning at Inspire 2022, organized by GSLC and Rishi Hood University. She has co-authored 9 books in a span of 9 months and is still continuing. She writes quotes, poems, life stories, and love stories. I further invite Madam Arpita Ghosh to share her valuable techniques with our fellow educators on the topic of the day. Please welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much for that extra long introduction. I mean, it really feels good to hear that. And I really thank from the bottom of my heart, Suresh sir, Deepa ma'am, and actually, I mean, CRDE for inviting me on this platform. And I'm sure as you've heard, you must have realized probably this is why I have that Kira in me that, you know, I mean, I can always add more value. I can do things differently. Because I'm sure as educators, all of us do realize, you know, sometimes, yes, new academic year begins, but are we doing, you know, the new faces also come, new classes, but then are we teaching the same old subjects? Are we teaching it in the same manner? Are we doing it differently? How do we add more value? And that is when I realized that somewhere we need to do things in such a way that our classroom teaching becomes more student-centric. Dealing with the 12 plus students over here, I find that most of our students, you know, come with issues of anxiety, less focus, low power of concentration, And I'm sure at school level also, this is exactly what must be happening. Probably it is the changing times. What has happened, technology has come into our day-to-day lives in such a way that if we allow technology to take over us, we might be devoid of emotions and devoid of, creativity and everything. Because I see the youngest of kids also, they'll have the mobile phone and everything is like, just there. So gone are those days when we get into telling a story, allowing the child to imagine. So somewhere I feel creativity is largely impacted. In fact, just yesterday when I met a gentleman who had visited us from the Binghamton University from US, and he's a totally technological person. So I told him, I said, sir, it's really great that technology is, coming up in such a big way, but we need to use technology to create, which means our students need to be creative. So he said, you got it right over there. It's creativity. And for that creativity, we need to tap into our creative selves. And I think what happens when we start using expressive arts, that is when we start tapping into our creative self. Now, again, as educators, if we have to take expressive arts into the classroom, my first question to you all would be, how many of us over here would say that, yes, I am creative? Please put a Y on the chat box if you consider yourself creative, or if you feel that you're not creative, please put a no. I just want to understand this. Can I see the chat box coming up? Okay. All right. Great. It's nice to know that there are so many who say that, yes, we are creative. And that is really, really wonderful, because sometimes there are people who will say, I am not creative. And I believe that creativity exists in all. Why this question is so important? For the simple reason that when we talk about using expressive arts, it's just got to do with your own way of thinking as to how you can use it to your advantage. It's got nothing to do with, I need to be a creative person, or as in, I need to know a dance form, I need to know music, I need to know. It's not that. It's just about knowing what basic dance, drama, music, everything is all about, and how we can bring it to the classroom to make our learnings more enjoyable. So I would, okay, all right, because you feel validated by other people, all right, fine. Okay, when we get into expressive arts, so what is it that really comes into expressive arts? Something, okay, we all know it's singing, it's music, dance, drama, psychodrama, clay molding, mask making, all that comes under creative expressive arts. Writing, different forms of writing. And when you look at the word expressive, it's nothing but a way of expressing ourselves. And as Sonali ma'am just said, when we're talking about expressive arts, it's finding a way to express our feelings, to see how we can, and this expressive expression of ours helps us to actually articulate our ideas, our feelings, thus helping us to enhance our own communication skills. So if I have to again come back to, or rather understand, why should we use expressive arts? We need to use expressive arts for the simple reason that, one, like I said, it involves, or rather engages all the students in the activity. So thus it makes it student-centric. Secondly, It helps the student to focus. Next, it builds up on the self-confidence, the self-esteem. It brings in a sense of self-awareness of everything that is around us. So even if you're looking at young students of school level, or if you're looking at young adults, somewhere expressive arts helps in the overall development. Last but not the least, it makes learning extremely fun-filled and experiential. So let's see how we can take each form of the expressive art into the classroom. And over here, I would like to begin with creative visualization. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually guide you through this, and then we will look at how we can take it into the classroom and probably for which subject we can use it. And that's when I would also like you all to share, because this is one platform where we can share ideas once we receive the input. So wherever you're sitting, I would just like you to gently close your eyes. Just feel relaxed. Just bring your focus to your breath, like as you just breathe in and breathe out. Just breathe in and breathe out. And as you feel relaxed and comfortable in your breath, visualize you are walking down a street. Visualize you're walking down a street. Be aware, be observant. Take in all the details of that street. What kind of shops are there? What is the kind of traffic on the road? Are there any hawkers? Is the pavement very crowded? Is it a familiar street you're walking on? Or is it a street from a different place? How do the people over there look? What kind of clothes are they wearing? Once you have taken in through your observation every minute detail, bring your focus to the sounds on the street. What are the different sounds you are hearing? The traffic sounds. What language are the people talking? If there were hawkers, what is it that they are selling over there? And as you've taken in all the different sounds, you notice a food stall. The aroma of the food is what you take in. Identify what is that aroma. Is it spicy, sweet? What kind of an aroma of the food you are getting? You find yourself walking towards the food stall. You place an order of that dish. And as you are served the dish, you take 1 spoon of it and into your mouth. And as you're tasting that, identify what kind of a taste is it. And as you've identified the taste, please open your eyes, come back to the space. And now tell me, one is, were you able to visualize? Okay, great. And what did we notice in this entire visualization? How many of our senses we kept bringing into it? Sight, observation, listening. right? The sense of taste.
Smell.
Yes, smell. So this kind of a visualization, and like I said, our children are somewhere so used to, like looking at ready-made visuals. And sometimes even when they are walking on the road, their ears are just earplugged. They have that, headphones. So they are not even aware of the natural sounds around. So this kind of a creative visualization exercise, it helps the children to imagine and also to start focusing and using their senses, all the senses, totally alive. Yeah, touch, okay, was not touched. I mean, I didn't get, but you can use that whenever, like, you can, depending on what kind of a visualization you are using. I have used this because I just wanted to give you a kind of taste of this exercise. But now what I would like to discuss is, if I have to take it to the classroom, which are the probable subjects that I can take it to the classroom for? I would like to hear it from you. And of course, afterwards, I will definitely give you my inputs.
Science.
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 Okay. Science. History, I think, is another subject that you can use.
Social studies.
Social studies, great. Okay. EE, maths, absolutely. Geography also, when we are doing the landscapes, the mountains, stalactites, stalagmites. Language, all right. Okay, English, SST, absolutely. So we can see that we can use it for a couple of subjects. Now, I would like to ask you again, because it's very important that when we are taking it to the classroom and having experienced it, what is it done for me? Because when I know I'm taking it to the classroom, I also need to understand what can it do for my students. So if you can please share, what did it really do for you? Like, how did it make you feel? If we can get to that. Please share on the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself and speak. That also would be great.
It was more like a journey.
It was more like a journey. Okay, all right. So how does that make you feel, ma'am?
I actually went into a different world.
Okay.
I visualized my native place where my mother and father lived. And it was really a village scene.
True.
So it brought back memories for me.
Okay. All right. Okay, somebody is asked to repeat the question. So what I'm talking, my basic question over here is that having experienced this particular exercise of creative visualization, I need to know, I'm asking you, how are you feeling about this entire thing? Because when I take it to the classroom, I should also be able to understand that what can this particular experience or this exercise do for my students? So that's why I was just asking, how did you feel about it, or what did it make you feel? So that, we are aware of what all things, what all can come up, and we should be ready to handle. That's one thing of expressive arts. I would like to just tell you all, when we are taking it to the classrooms, we should be very clear about what all can come up from the experiential part of it from the students, because it opens up a lot. And so when we are aware of that, but then we know how to handle it and deal with it also.
May I say something?
Yeah, please, please.
The memories that it kindled in me brought me out of my present and made me more peaceful, because I visualized a very rustic scene with a beautiful sunrise at the end of the road. So it made me come out of my present and made me a little more calmer, I think.
Okay, that's really nice, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I feel in the classroom, if we can do such exercises, this will help them in students to know where the content is, and it's a very good way of recalling things. Visualization is the very powerful way of memory. And if they can say, for example, I could visualize the first chapter, the first page of the chapter, turn the page, then I have a map there, and there is a description. If this is it will go into a long-term memory, and this is a very beautiful tool for a recall. And purely from a student's point of view, it's a very good method to recollect when they need it.
Very true, sir.
Yeah.
So
that's why a movie seen a few years back we remember, because that it has been visualized.
Exactly. And I mean, it's all about like, so that is why the moment you realize what it is doing for you, you can also understand what it can do for the student. And we have already had some 3 or 4 people sharing. There's somebody else who shared over here that it can be used in creative writing. Absolutely. In fact, essay writing, in whichever language you're doing the essay writing, creative visualization is an important aspect of essay writing. So I think it makes a lot of difference. Okay, while teaching, this tool will help a lot. Absolutely. So this was one tool that, and if there are any questions on it, we will take it, or we'll move on to the next tool, because I would just like to briefly touch upon the various tools that are there, so that you can take back maximum to the classroom. Whatever is remaining, like I've been telling Deepa ma'am, if we can do a face-to-face session, I will be really happy, because the learning will be a lot more at that time. Okay, so if there are no questions on this, I would like to take the next tool, because again, I feel that movement, and when I'm talking about movement, in fact, somebody has mentioned walking movement over here, but here I'm actually talking about physical movement, and physical movement, which is like dance movement. Now, just like, when I asked you, are we all creative over here? The moment we talk about dance movement, sometimes people say, oh, I'm not into dancing, I don't dance. But we are not talking about dancing over here. Like, it's just about bringing in a little bit of grace in your movement. So much as I would love to, like, have a kind of demonstration over here, but it's not really possible to do it over here. But I will guide you rather, as to how we can use movement in the classroom. Now, what happens is, how we can use a movement in the classroom is, depending again on which class you're teaching, like, I mean, if it is much of the junior classes, and especially when it comes to the junior classes, they tend to be very restless. And before I move on, I think largely my audience over here are all from school level teaching, K-12, K-12 teachers. Yeah, okay, all right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you. So when we are looking at the lower standards, what happens is, if you're talking about lines, learning lines, curves, shapes, and that's the time, like, we get the student up, get them to, like, come, okay, we say form a straight line, form a curvaceous line, like, how will you form a curve? Then you tell them a shape, a triangle, a circle, a square. This movement, it gives a break from the monotony of the teaching, because instead of the teacher just taking the chalk and drawing over there, but along with the drawing, which can, like, it have the visual impact can be there. But if I am also getting my students to stand up, come out, and actually form that shape of a triangle or of a square, it makes a lot of difference, because, like I said, it breaks the monotony. And movement, again, when it helps us for interpersonal skills, because I am forming a shape with some of my classmates. We can also, again, with the help of the movement, very simply, like, okay, we've made a circle. So the circle, if I have to make them understand circumference, radius, diameter, I can use the movement over here. Or even if I look at some of the science subject, say for example, water in its different form. So water in the ice form, like, I can just maybe put on some music and tell them first to be free flowing. So in the free flowing, it's like, you can be in the liquid form. And then if you have to evaporate, how are you going to evaporate? Let them use that imagination if they are in the liquid form. And then if they have to evaporate, what is the action going to be? And then from evaporation, again, if we say like, you condense, you're back to the liquid form. And then again, from liquid form to solid, then how are you going to again, like, be? So we can use these different ways. In fact, what happens when you're looking at evaporation, if you really look at any kind of, like the steaming hot cup of coffee, you see the steam is, moving in a very curvaceous form. So we can help the children again to use their imagination to see how that evaporation is going to be for them through that movement. And all these activities, it does not take very long, but at the same time, a simple concept of solid, liquid, gas has been explained. And they have had that total experience. They have got up from their seat, enjoyed the activity, understood the activity. They are again back in their seat, and you continue again with your teaching. So, I mean, this is just some of it. And again, how does this kind of movement, and especially any kind of physical movement, what is it doing for our students? Most of us tend to have a lot of, inhibitions. And when we involve the physical movement, that's why we call it dance movement. I mean, the whole point is to shed those inhibitions about the way we are. And the more comfortable we are with ourselves, it just helps us to shed those inhibitions. And that is how it gives us a better self-esteem and a better confidence in the self. Not that every time you have to use it to connect it to a subject. Sometimes just get them to stand up and just do a kind of movement. In fact, if everybody is ready, maybe we can do one just to see how it feels to do a very simple guided movement. Are we ready for it? And is everyone willing to switch on the camera and do it?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So all what we're going to do is we'll just sit. I'm not even asking you all to stand. Okay. So very simply, let's just move to the right. Okay. Back to the center. Move to the left. Back to the center. Hi. Hi. Clap, clap, clap. So it's just to break the monotony also, and again, give the students, they break away from that awkwardness of a movement. In fact, for all those over here who were not, who did not switch on the camera to show, I would like to, it's just a moment of reflection that what really held me back to switch on my camera and do this movement for everyone to see. So I hope I'm able to make my point very clear that if I am taking anything to the classroom, I need to do it, I need to experience it, and only then can I take it to the classroom. So the moment I am very comfortable in my own skin, that is when I can present myself to the students and present this particular exercise also to the students. Yeah. So any questions so far? Okay.
No
right.
questions, but I would
Yes.
like to just share something if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure, perfectly fine, ma'am.
You were talking about, conversion of matter from solid to liquid and then
Yeah.
to the gaseous matter. In fact,
Right.
I used to do that, and I used to go a step further, making them understand the formation of covalent bond and ionic bond, which is very
Okay.
difficult for them to understand, the strength of the bond. So I used to go a step further and even explain that with help of students taking part in it and, sitting
Right.
together and then moving apart. That is how I used to do it. I just
Great.
wanted to share this.
No, that's what I said. Like, we are discussing the tools. I can give you the main tools, but it will also be nice because this is a platform for us to share. So I may be having one set of things to talk about, but I'm sure for all the educators over here, they also must be having the moment you get a little bit, you start thinking and you can add on more value to it. So if we can share that way, then we'll be taking a lot more from here. So I really appreciate that.
I used to play dog and the bone with them, with the symbols and elements, so formation of compounds with the help of dog and the bone.
Right. So I think you wanted to say something.
I would like to say, maths not only for lower classes, even for higher classes also.
Even for higher
classes also. See, in instead of that monotonous, hearing and speaking, if you do little bit of movement, and body language also plays a important role. Yeah, so this will help, and people will just become a fresh. I think it's for all the standards, all the higher class also, it will be better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like Dr. Neeta over here says, movement helps in interpersonal skills and also managing the moods. Absolutely. So movement is very, very beneficial. In fact, that's why I asked, I said if all our educators are, from K-12. So, but I use all these for my corporate training sessions. And believe me, the adults, irrespective of their positions, when we are in that particular mode of training, they enjoy it so much. Because we are basically, there's an inner child in all of us, which just likes to come out and play. So if you're talking about dog and the bone, when we do it at the corporate level, if you're playing dog and the bone and all, so it is again about observation, alertness, listening skills. So if you go to see, there are a lot of these games which we used to play earlier, and if you look at it, it gives you so much of learning. So it's how you use it, where you use it, and how the others can benefit from it. Ma'am, you're on mute.
To play it with 9th and 10th standard students.
Okay. All right.
But what happens is mainly our teachers are very much interested in finishing the topic than enjoying their teaching. See, they themselves do not enjoy teaching. They have to do the work and they are doing it. Of course, they are good teachers. They teach properly. Everything is good. But if little bit of this also can be, is applied, I think it can be very well given to all the students, and students also will enjoy their lessons,
They definitely will, sir.
But the teachers are also sometimes afraid that what the principal will say, what the next teacher will say also.
But sir, I
That's right.
always say when it comes to, whether it is principal or whether it is the society, kuch to log kahenge, logo ka kaam hai kehna. See, the whole point again over here is, if I believe in what I'm doing, and if I believe that I can make a difference by doing what I'm doing, I think I should just go ahead and do it. Because unless people are not able to see the impact that I am creating, nobody is going to, believe. Except for me, there's nobody else who's going to believe. So if I believe in something very strongly, I might as well be bold, be courageous, and take it ahead. When people start seeing the impact, the difference, they will automatically follow. It's as simple as that. That's the way the world works. Okay, Ajay, how do you play Dog and the Bone? All right, Basha Desai wants to know about Dog and the Bone. Okay, so from here, something again which is very, very important is the art of storytelling. Now, storytelling, again, if you look at the corporate level, you look at senior college, you look at any time, all of us as human beings love to listen to a story. But what makes the difference in the storytelling is the art of storytelling. It is all about our voice modulation. So if I have to tell anything in a story format, I need to be able to modulate my voice. So over here again, it's not just about me modulating my voice, but it is also about helping, or rather empowering, my students to modulate their voice. Because by this exercise, they will be able to, voice modulation will help them to enhance their own communication skills. So how do we go about voice modulation? Now, if I have to say, okay, just practice Saregama every day, I will say, I'm not a singer, I don't sing. So, okay, we don't get in over there, but this is a very, very simple exercise. And we just follow 3 instruments. The flute, then we have the trumpet, and we have the saxophone. Okay, so when we talk about the flute is basically when the voice is just limited over here, neck and above. When I'm talking about the trumpet, sorry, the saxophone. So from here, I come down to the heart. The voice is now coming from here. And then when I go even deeper, voice from the belly. Okay. So if we have a class and we tell the class 3 divisions, the flute, the trumpet, and the saxophone, which means from neck upwards, heart, and from the belly. So if we have to see how it goes, it will be, I'll take the simple happy birthday to you. 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 So if we keep alternating from flute to trumpet to saxophone to trumpet to flute to trumpet, it takes your voice from up, down, bottom. And then when we are doing the storytelling, we try to see where do we need to take it at the flute level, where do we need to take it at the trumpet level, where do we need to take it at the saxophone level. So voice modulation can be practiced, and the moment you put it in this way, it becomes a lot more easier. Or even if you don't want to do a song, we can just do ah or la, whichever way it works, whichever way we feel comfortable in taking it into the classroom. But voice modulation is a very, very important aspect of communication skills. So this needs to be looked into. The other important aspect of communication skills is like, the tone, the mood. And for that, the other expressive art form, that is, role play, we all tend to use it at some time or the other. That's dramatizing a scene, or you pick up any situation, and especially if you're doing any kind of situational based case studies, or if you're doing any kind of situation based information, or moral stories, or whichever value added stories, we can involve the students in different roles. Give them a role play to do. Or for that matter, we can just make them understand different emotions. In different emotions, what is the body language? Like when you're happy, how do you feel? Or how does your body respond to happiness? So it is something as simple as if I tell you to just droop your shoulders and just sit like that. Are you able to feel happy? It's difficult because I'm just tightening up, I'm just holding everything. But the moment I open up, it becomes a lot more easier to express happiness. So again, here it is a combination of emotions, it's a combination of body language. And with this, you have one line of dialogue. It will also allow them to speak with emotions. So voice, again, it can be moved. And like we say, one is the trumpet, flute and saxophone. Another thing which can really help the students, and why I'm saying help the students, whether again, senior, junior, whatever the age, nasal sound, I still remember when we were children, we really enjoyed talking through the nose. We would enjoy that. But believe me, it was only later on in life when I did the voice movement therapy, the entire thing, that I realized the nasal voice helps us to release the emotion of means the frustration, the irritation, the complaining kind. So it's a way of releasing those complaints, and automatically it makes us feel better. So at the end of it, what happens when we do it with a group of people, sometimes, like I said, any kind of expressive art, if we have to take it to a group of people, there is always the initial awkwardness that people have. You will notice it. But by regular use of it is when they start dropping those inhibitions. And that can only happen when we are also comfortable to go on demonstrating and go on getting them into it. But this can also be used very effectively. Because when we look into what are the health benefits of the expressive arts, there are so many. Top of the list is it lowers the stress. Then it also helps us to focus. Obviously, it just helps us to discover a sense of happiness. And when we are in that, vibration or that frequency of happiness, obviously it boosts our immune system. Or आजकल के कोरोना के दिन में, I think it's very important that we do or indulge in anything that is going to help us boost our immune system. It also nurtures our emotional growth. And then, of course, there are social and emotional benefits to using the expressive arts. So it's great to use these form of arts in your classrooms. Now, if you really look at singing or music for that matter, again, no matter what subject you're teaching, no matter what the concept is, the way I use it, irrespective of what the topic is, I go by like, that I give them one word and then I tell them to come up with some alternate words, or like, something as simple as if I have to ask you, how are you feeling right now? So you will come up with a whole lot of feelings. Okay, so that's one variable that I have over there. This is how I'm feeling. Which are the place you are in? Okay, so if you're talking about one particular place, like here I am, so Lavasa. So we get a collection of words, feelings, and then it is about making a sentence with using the feeling, using the name of the place. And then you just take some 4 sentences and just make a tune and sing it. And all of us over here know very well that the moment there is a kind of melody, we remember much, much better. So try to see what concept you are trying to teach, how you can use this form of expressive art. And obviously the moment, because when we are talking about creativity, I mean, what also happens, why does it boost our confidence? Because it kind of gives us a sense of, that feeling of being empowered, because with creativity, I am in a position to create. And obviously, the moment I am creating something, it gives a different sense of power. It gives a feel-good factor. So you can just imagine how our students are going to feel when we just tell them, I mean, and we're taking them step by step. You just tell them to identify certain words, relevant words, make sentences with those relevant words. And the moment there are some 4 or 5 sentences, just give it a tune. You could either use rap. Somebody who's comfortable with rap, they can use rap. Or if they want to give it a tune, they can actually give it some tune. So that is how you can use music. Or if we don't want to get into this kind of a thing, then it's about, like creating our own parody. Like, I mean, a ready-made tune is there and we create a parody like. So if you're talking about parody, I mean, it's all of you all have heard of the song Tirchi Topi Wale. Yes. So the parody that I have for that, and I would love to share it with you all, since all of us are educators over here. So it goes like that. We are educators by profession. Teaching is our passion. Okay. So if I have to sing it out for you all, it will be, we are educators by profession. Oh, teaching is our passion. Oh. So of course, this is because, I mean, since I'm into the teacher training part of it, so I've used this. But depending on whatever your subject is, you can create a parody also, so that it remains, they sing, because sometimes even, like the ad jingles, if they are catchy, we tend to sing it. So likewise, if we can come up with something like that, that can also benefit the students.
Ma'am, may I share something?
Yes, I can see it in your face, Deepa, that you're just eager to.
I just, I remembered, it's not even a melody, it's not nothing.
Yeah.
I was just teaching my 10-year-old grandson number line.
Mhm.
He was finding it a little difficult to understand the positive and the negative of the number line.
Okay.
And so then I told him, okay, his name is Arav. I said, okay, Arav, get up. Now let's do some jumping. So I said, jump, 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 right, positive. Jump, 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 negative. You know, left, the negative. Again, jump, 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 right, positive. Jump, 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 left, negative. No jump, no jump, no sign. So zero is zero is neither positive nor negative. So I told him, no jump, no jump, no jump, no sign. So zero is neither positive or negative.
Right.
This was just a few days ago, so I remembered it. So I thought I'll share it with you.
Absolutely. So that's what I'm saying. See, creativity is there in all of us. It's just about giving it a thought of how can I do my lesson differently. Today, if we have to look at, most of the corporates today, they always keep saying like, we are looking at candidates who think out of the box. So if we want to create those kind of job-ready candidates, then we as educators need to be the ones who think out of the box so that we can make our students also, give them the ability to think out of the box, give them the freedom to think differently. In fact, something as simple as like, even if we, one is debate is one way of, like making the class, instead of just going on speaking, we can have debate, we can have discussion also. Discussion again, like what happens is you will find sometimes there are students who just won't participate. Jo bol raha hai, bolne do like. But as teachers, again, we need to ensure that every student is going to speak up. So instead of having a one class, like, the large group discussion, break them up into smaller groups. And then let the discussion so that everybody has something to say. So thinking out of the box is something that we have to encourage and we have to enforce. But do it in a very fun-filled way, because when learning becomes fun, that is when it remains with us lifelong. So that's how we have to take it ahead. Okay, so much as I would like to share, let me just see if I covered up all the points that okay, then again, writing is another way, another expressive tool. In fact, it's very nice to get our students to write, because I think ever since pandemic, post-pandemic, students have forgotten what it is to write. So instead of telling them to write answers or something, again, we can get them to do. Now, the creative visualization exercise, which I made you all do, another thing that can be done is the moment they have gone through that creative visualization, the moment they open their eyes, tell them to write down everything that they visualized. And like I said, this works very well for language, because once they have written that down, then we tell them to identify what are the adjectives I have used, what are the nouns I have used, which tense I have used. So that also comes over there. Yeah. So I am willing to take questions right now, if anyone has any.
So everyone, the session is open for the questions. If anyone would like to ask any question, please, you're most welcome to do so.
I am Rama here. I don't have any question. Though I am not a teacher and I don't have even iota of teaching in my life, but I enjoyed this session so much because I am an Innerville member here, and we started teaching this life skill to the underprivileged children. in the government school or in the orphanages and all these things. The way Arpita Ghosh has explained this creative this thing, it is really good, so that we can imbibe all these things into those children by expressing their views, and all these tools are going to help them. I think so. It is.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Really, it is very good, and I enjoyed your session so much that I think so that I can use this tool in my classes also, though I am not a teacher. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Rama ma'am, though you are not a teacher, you must be a mother.
Yes, of course.
A mother is the first teacher.
Yeah.
Before any child goes to school, there are so many things a child learns from his or her mother and father. So
Yeah.
mother is the first teacher, more than father, mother.
Yeah.
So
Thank
definitely you are a teacher by birth. Don't worry. And whatever Arpita Ghosh ma'am said, definitely it is good for all the people in general. It's
Yes.
not only for teaching, even for communicating something also, everything can be applicable.
Yes. Yes.
I feel. Am I right, ma'am?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And I should thank Deepa for this, because she sent me the link.
Yes, yes.
Sir, I would just like to tell you something about Rama.
Okay.
Rama is associated with Innerweal. She says she's not a teacher, but she works with students from all different stratas, the government school and the tribal schools and all. And I have seen, because I have sort of, been there with her for some of the sessions, so they really, not only the students, but also the teachers, they talk to them, they conduct trainings for them. So Rama,
Yeah.
you cannot say you're not a teacher.
Thank you, Deepa.
That I have already proved.
Thank you.
Well, really nice.
I wanted to say something, Miss.
Yes, ma'am. Tell us.
I wanted to, because I heard in the introduction that she's from Manik Vidya Mandir. I wanted to tell her that many years, maybe 25 years ago, when I came to Bombay, that was the first school I taught in. It used to be called IAS Reclamation School, Bank opposite Leelavati. Then it was named Manik Vidya Mandir. So I just wanted to share that, I have very fond memories of that place. And I felt somehow proud, to be associated in this manner with the resource person today. And thank you so much for that insightful session. It was really nice. So many things get confirmed, and when we hear from an experienced person like you, then we realize that some things gets validated, and we realize that, maybe we are on the right track. So it's very important for us to keep having these kind of workshops and sessions. Thank you so much for organizing this.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I have one question.
Yeah, Deepa
Yes,
ma'am
sir.
and Suresh sir, with your permission, can I sum up the whole session?
I think Deshpande sir has
No,
some
Deshpande sir
questions.
would like to say something.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Arpita ma'am, you have any special tools or techniques to make maths interesting, or at least less phobia?
So maths is one thing, like you can use art, literally like, drawing. Drawing is one thing. And the other is movement. Like even if I have to, talk about fractions. One way of doing fractions is like, I love it. And you either take a brownie, or you take, even if you take, a Maggie packet. So the Maggie is one whole chunk. And then, you break it into two. So it was one. Then when I've broken it into two, it's half. So 1/2. Then, you break one half of the half. So you're getting 3. Then so fractions, you can use either one whole biscuit or a Maggie packet. Movement again is a great way of using, because especially nowadays we have, like at least about 35 to 40 students. So if you want to do your divisions, formulas, you can use movement in a good way. But a lot depends on, the kind of classroom management that we have. The seating arrangement needs to be taken care of. To introduce these techniques, we need to ensure that we have that kind of space.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I would just like to share here, maths is a serious discipline. So it becomes very difficult to be creative. Rather, a teacher can be more innovative. Using nature very often, I would, I used to train my teachers, when you teach maths, look at nature around you. For example, I would tell them, just take a compound leaf. And then you can teach them axis of symmetry there. You can teach them parallel lines. You can teach them all the operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, because you'll find exact number of leaves on the either side. So I would use nature. I would tell them to use nature to make it a little realistic. It's a spatial subject. It's a subject which requires abstract thinking. Okay. So it becomes difficult for children to grasp very easily. So that, nature makes it more easier. So tell them to use nature some way or the other and introduce it in mathematics.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for sharing, ma'am.
Thank you.
See, it helps us to get different perspectives,
Yeah.
Like we say, when all of us come together and then when we start opening up, there are so many different insights we get. So now next time I know when it comes to maths, along with these, the way I have been thinking, but much as I am a nature lover, I never thought of connecting nature to maths. Thank you so much.
Arpita ma'am, Dr. Ambuja Meyer is the former HOD of Department of Education, SNDT University.
Oh, okay. All right.
She's also one of our mentors of CRDE.
Okay. Nice to meet you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So if no one is there to ask any questions, we can wind up, ma'am.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let me take this opportunity to sum up today's session. Expressive arts have the capacity to enrich all areas of a curriculum, thereby providing learners a platform to be self-expressive and have confidence in their abilities. As we know, the main aim or the goal of education is to create an environment where all the students can enjoy learning, improve, and grow in their confidence. And this, rightly said by Santos, says the deep connection between expressive arts and education involves aspects that beyond those associated with aesthetic aspect impact the full development of the child and the youngster. The expressive art as an approach that in the process integrates the expressive aspects of various artistic forms and all of them mediated by the body. The music, dance, drama, painting, drawing, modeling, prose and poetry can be integrated into educative or therapeutic practices of various natures, allowing the facilitation of intrapersonal and interpersonal relationships and symbolic expressions of deep emotions that were otherwise not manifested. So, ma'am, I would like to further take up this session with a vote of thanks, with your permission. So it is such an honor for me to get the opportunity to thank all the dignitaries who are present over here. Thank you, Arpita Madam, for sharing with us wonderful insights about how expressive arts can be used as a teaching tool. We note the power of the expressive arts in expressing and celebrating the diverse communities that we live in. I'm sure all the educators present here today will be eager to implement what they have gained today. On behalf of CRDE, we thank you for accepting our invitation, Madam. I would like to thank all the participants for patiently being a part of this webinar with great enthusiasm. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Deepa Madam and Dr. Nair Sir for organizing such insightful webinars for the like-minded. And we look forward to having such more kind of sessions. I would like to thank the technical staff for handling things very well and putting in great efforts to make this webinar a great success. So we step ahead by announcing the next session's date and the topic. Our next webinar in the series will be on 23rd of August 2022, and the topic is the art and science of leadership in classrooms. This will be taken up by the eminent speaker, Dr. 𝐔𝐬𝐢𝐧𝐠 Ravi, who is an educational consultant, former director of education and principal, Srimati Sulochana Devi Singhania School, Thane. So requesting all of you to kindly attend the upcoming webinar and enhance our knowledge and skills. Thank you so much, everyone.